You know, when you learn the secrets to hitting your irons flush, it becomes really easy. You look forward to hitting that mid-iron out of the fairway because you know you're going to hit a good one, and most of your playing partners are going to struggle hitting those shots. Now, I've put together 3 of my all-time best videos that are going to share with you some of those real secrets to hitting crisp irons. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, can't hit one much better than that. And if we're going to hit great golf shots, if we're going to be incredibly consistent golfers, hit those shots solid time after time, the number one thing is to come down, hit the golf ball first, and then hit the ground. Now, there's a problem with this, though. You see, that will actually cause you, if you try to hit the ball first and then the ground, it'll cause you to come down steeper, more over the top, and lose a ton of distance. You're going to end up with a fade or even a big slice, and it just doesn't go anywhere. You see, the reason is when I try to hit down more, my club naturally kicks out and I can get on this steeper angle where I am hitting down more, but all of a sudden that tilts everything to the left. Let me explain how this works. You see, if I'm swinging from the inside to square, that's fairly shallow. I'm not really chopping down into the ground. The more I swing to the right, the even shallower I would be coming into the golf ball. In fact, if I get crazy with it, I go way to the right, you'll notice how that divot is almost back here by my right foot. And that's the only way to swing to the right, simply because your body's in the way. If I tried to get my divot up here and swing that much to the right, I couldn't because I'd be hitting into my leg. So I can only swing that far to the right when I'm further and further back. So in a nutshell, the further and further back your divot is, the more you can swing to the right. The more you want to swing to the right, the further back the divot's going to feel. Vice versa, the more I swing to the left, the farther forward my divot's going to be. So these two things are the polar opposite. I want to hit down and hit the ball first, but that brings my divot more over the top. If I want to bring it more inside and swing inside out, it brings my divot too far back. So how do I get that down ball first contact and still get that nice draw like we had here? That's exactly what we're going to go over in this video. So there's a couple keys here. First off, what I really like to do is I like to put down a couple of tees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a tee about 4 inches behind the golf ball. And I like to use the broken up pieces of the tee so you don't actually use the head that's a little bit thicker. But I'm going to put this about 4 inches behind the golf ball. And I'm going to put the other one about 4 inches in front of the golf ball. And if I'm doing this correctly, I should be able to come down, hit the golf ball, and clip that front tee without hitting the back tee at all. So I'm going to get into how to do this in a minute, but I want to show you the drill the right way that it works first. So here I'm going to set up this golf ball, I'm going to make a swing, hit the ball, and then the front tee. There we go, and I hit that one great. Nice little draw. I think my radar may be lined up a little bit to the right, but you can see how I missed the back tee. I hit down into the golf ball and then took that divot out in front, clipping that front tee. Now, there's a problem with this. Again, if I haven't trained myself to swing inside out, then that shot is probably going to start to the left and fade back, be a slice. So what I want to do here, instead of having these tees straight to the target, like this, I'm actually going to angle those a little bit inside out. So this inside tee is going to be slightly on the inside of the golf ball. The outside tee is going to be slightly on the outside to kind of promote that inside out path. We don't have to get crazy with it, but just a little bit goes a long way. Now, the second thing we're going to do is the greatest thing to get your weight shifting forward and hitting the ball first. I'm going to set up with my normal iron. I got a 6-iron here. I'm going to get my natural stance, and then I'm going to put this door stopper under my right foot. Now what this does is it angles in my leg, which is perfect for pushing off this right leg and getting my knee to kick forward a little bit, and that shifts my weight to the front side. So by putting this door stopper in here, I'm kind of cheating to get the right feel, the feel that you should be having in a real golf swing, to get this knee to lead the way and then hit down and through. Now this is a huge breakthrough for me when I was a young player, when I was getting to be a pretty good player, getting near scratch. One of the big breakthroughs was feeling like getting that right knee to kick forward almost toward the golf ball. And a key for it is I don't want the knee to kick this way to the left or I'm going to be more over the top. I want to feel like that knee drives forward and out, kind of like an inside-out path toward that golf ball. And that's really going to help me to get a nice draw here when I'm hitting this shot. So there we can see that ball drew from right to left. I feel like it's easy to push off this right foot and to really get everything going forward and hit it really nice and solid. Now, if you're still struggling with this, a great cheat for it is to go ahead and use an impact bag like this. So a lot of players just tend to fall back on their right foot, and man, no matter what you try, it just doesn't feel like it can work for you. You always end up grounding out behind it. If you put these two things together, let me tell you, it's about impossible to mess this thing up. So I'm gonna put a golf ball here. I'm gonna put an impact bag about 2.5 feet behind the golf ball. And this is an I-line golf impact bag. I'll put a link down below in this video. We get a small commission if you buy one of these bags. Use a pillow, use whatever you want. I particularly like this one. You do a lot of drills with it. It helps get us a few bucks if you buy from this link, but again, doesn't matter. You don't need this to do this drill. You can use a pillow or whatever. But I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I got my door stopper here, ball in the middle of my stance. I don't want the ball way up in my stance or I'm gonna have a hard time hitting down and through. And then what I'm gonna do here is feel like I miss this bag and swing inside out. Now, the only thing I don't like about this drill is if you go really wide in the backswing, you might hit the bag. So you kind of feel like you have to pick it up a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that's a big of an issue. Definitely not as big of an issue as hitting behind the golf ball. This is great to do in moderation. And you can even hear there a little bit, I just clipped that bag slightly as I made my backswing. So you don't want to overdo this. You just do a few of them to make sure you're missing that bag. And a great thing about this too, it helps you get a lot of lag, because I have to have some lag and shaft lean to miss that bag. If I start to cast out, I hit that bag immediately. And then finally, here's a little modification on this, again from I-Line. They have a speed trap, which is a plexiglass. It's basically like an impact board, but it's got a little area cut out for you to swing in. So I can do this exact same drill. And what I'm gonna do here, there's lines for chipping, pitching, and full swing. If you're indoors on a really tight mat like this, I actually put the ball where the pitching mark is. And again, I'm gonna angle this out to the right to promote more of a draw type swing. And that's what's gonna help me to make sure that I can hit down without coming over the top. So I really feel like I'm swinging more inside out as I'm doing this. And this board, I should be able to hit this without dinging this plastic. And don't worry, you're not gonna break it even if you do ding it, but you'll see right away that gives you immediate feedback. There you go, and I missed the plastic. A nice little draw again. Let me go ahead and show you what I do if I do on the wrong way. Let's say I fall back here. I don't get off this right leg to my front foot. You'll hear that it hits that plastic, and again, you're not gonna mess it up. Same thing, we get a few bucks for these. You don't have to have this, but I just like it better than breaking all the tees, putting the tees 4 inches behind and in front. It just saves you a lot of time. Plus, it's kind of small enough and definitely thin enough to fit in your golf bag if you're doing some great practice. So that's one of the best ones. If you're working on this particular issue, there's not much that's gonna be better than that. Now, if you're having trouble staying down in your posture through contact, rather than kind of standing up out of your posture, I got a pretty surprising thing that I'm gonna show you here. If you wanna stay in your posture, it's not about hinging forward like this or having your body tilt forward. It's actually about having your body tilt this way. So to the right, which would be right side bend, and then just a little forward. So this is me staying in my posture in the golf swing. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm gonna walk you through it step by step here. So what's going on, if I get into a good impact position, I'm in my posture. My hips are open. They're about 45 degrees open, and my body is tilted to the right. So I'll get into impact and I'll kind of reverse it from there, back out of it, and I'll show you. So there's my good impact position. If I go ahead and turn my hips back square to the camera now, you'll see how this is a lot of right side bend and just a little bit forward. So this is staying in posture in the golf swing. Once you open your hips, now all of a sudden that's there. So again, if I'm just looking at that from this face-on view, it's a little bit bending forward like this, but we'll get to that in a second. The first piece of it is it's a lot of right side bend. So my right shoulder feels like it tucks down much lower than my left. I feel like my elbow, as it's resting, is kind of halfway up. I almost want to slide my right elbow down until it's at my belt buckle here. And then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and bend forward just slightly. And I'm way over here. So my shoulders are pointing to the right. My right shoulder is way lower. My shoulders should be about 45 degrees to the right, so that when I open my hips up 45 degrees, my shoulders are now square. So it's that right bend that's really the culprit. So let me lead you through a series of drills that's going to make this very, very easy. The first one's my favorite. I'd play golf like this all the time if I could. You just won't get your full distance like this, but man, it feels amazing. It's going to train you to get great impact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up this golf ball. I'm going to put my feet about a club head width apart, and I'm going to face them forward about 45 degrees. So I'm basically presetting my hips to be facing where they would be at impact. Both of my toes are in line with each other. Both of them are facing forward like this. If I look at my ball position, ball off the pinky toe of the right foot, and if I drop back my left or my right foot, you can see it's kind of going toward about here in my left foot. You'd have a great angle from that there. So that's my ball position, feet close together, and then from there what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set this golf club up with a lot of shaft lean, which is a big part of hitting the golf ball great. So if I get in this right side bend and rotate forward, that's going to get my hands way in front, which is what the pros are doing, and you're going to hit it a heck of a lot more solid. So I'm going to do that, lean the hands forward. Now, a big mistake people make from here, don't lift this club up out like this. Don't let it go outside. Bring it from the inside. Still try to hit a nice little draw as you're doing this. So from the inside, turning it over. And we're just going to start out with a little tiny little 50, 60 yard shot. There we go, and that was hit great. Man, you just compress these so well. I mean, I love hitting these shots. It's probably one of the best drills ever because it forces you into some really good things. It forces you to open the hips. I mean, you're not going to close the hips from here. They're already open. It also forces you, if I'm just going to be able to reach that golf ball, imagine I don't get into side bend now. I can't even reach the ball. So I have to bend this way to be even able to reach it and get that shaft lean that I want. So let me go ahead and swing a little harder on this one. And again, what I'm feeling a lot of is I'm feeling this right elbow slide down my side and go more toward my belt buckle here, or my belt, side belt loops. Slides down the seam of my shirt. So as I swing, that's what I'm feeling as I'm hitting these shots. So I'll go ahead and try another one. And it just forces you to do that. And if you hit a couple shots like that are almost just barely drawing, I would prefer to get you to go even more inside out and really over-exaggerate the draw aspect of this. That way we don't just open our body up and start chopping over the top. I want to still come from the inside as I'm doing this. Yeah, those just feel great. Again, it doesn't matter how far you're hitting them. That's about as far as I'm going to hit one doing this drill, 150 yards with a 7-iron, but that's plenty far for what we're doing here. That gets you the feeling of two things. Your hips are going to open up there. Your shaft lean is going to automatically be in front because where your hips go forward, it wants to push the shaft up there. And then if you just get a little right side bend, you're in great position there. Now, let me go ahead and build this right side bend and then one other way that guarantees you'll stay in your posture. We're going to go ahead and preset the club about 45 degrees to the right, just like this. So this will be toward the camera. I'm going 45 degrees this way. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get in all the side bend that I can until I go ahead and have my right elbow against my belt buckle. It's way down there, right? This is about where I want to be at impact. This is the feeling I want to have. From there, I'm just going to bend forward. So I'm going to set up like I normally would position-wise from the golf ball. I'm going to do this to get in that position. I'm going to bend forward, and I'm going to rotate my hips until that's where I'm trying to feel like I am from impact. You'll notice that you feel like your right ear is on the ground. If you're used to standing up and flipping, when you do this drill, like I just said, you're going to feel like the right side of your head is on the golf ball. It's just a wild feeling, especially if you're not used to getting that side bend and staying in your posture. So feel that a few times just to get in that good impact position. And then from there, we're going to have the same feeling that we did in that feet 45 degree open, but now we're just going to have to use our legs a little bit more to get us there. So right heel can come off the ground, my knees kind of swivel forward, and now all of a sudden I can get my hips open and get in that right side bend. So I've trained hips opening separately. I've trained right side bend separately by going through this little drill so I can feel both of them. Now I'm just putting both those feels together and you'll be able to easily stay in your posture. There we go. Not going to hit one a whole heck of a lot better than that. Starting to want to draw back just a little bit. 193 with a 7-iron. Definitely really happy. And again, if I want to stay down in my posture even more, get more shaft lean, make the ball go even a little bit lower. So this one I'm going to go ahead and get more right bend, more shaft lean, and you'll see the apex will be a little bit lower on this one. I'm just exaggerating the feelings that we just had by opening the hips and getting that right side bend. And that is solid there. I mean, that one is 199 with a 7-iron. You saw the ball flight came down. The height of it is a little bit lower. That just means the hands got in front, and I stayed my posture even better. All right, so we want to hit it far, but we want to be smooth and effortless while we're doing it. Well, I'm going to use a technique here. It's going to allow me to hit it really far, but really, really in control. Let's go ahead and give it a whirl. There we go. Nice dead straight shot. 7-iron there, 199 yards. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do any better than that. That's about as good as I can hit a golf ball. Now, why is it that that looks smooth when I can hit another shot where I feel really jerky and it'll actually go shorter than that? So let me go ahead and try to do this one. So I topped it on that, but it's obviously very jerky. Everything's out of whack. Well, it's actually more effort on the second one, but the swing speed went way down. On the first one, I didn't see the miles per hour. I usually swing around the high 90s, maybe even 100 miles an hour with a 7-iron. That was all the way down to 79 miles an hour, even though I felt like there was twice as much effort. Well, there's one technique to this, and what that is as I go into the transition, when I start to shift my weight to the left, my hands will stay still as the club lags. So what we want to feel like we're doing is into the backswing. We're going to start out with little half swings here. I'm going to swing back halfway. I'm going to feel like there's no wrist set, meaning that when my hands are about chest high, my club is still pointing directly to the right. Then as I shift my weight to left, my hands are going to kind of pause there as they start the downswing, and my club is going to set back like this. So it looks something like this. Sounds complicated, but all it is no wrist set. As I shift to the left, that's when I get my wrist set. So I can see no wrist set, shift to the left and get my wrist set. You'll also notice when I'm doing this, my right arm goes from extended to it starts to tuck in toward my shirt seam, the side of my body here. And as that happens, this club starts to fold. So again, it looks something like this: shift, lag, and then swing on through. And that really smooths everything out, and it allows that club to whip on through contact. So what I want you to do to feel this is just take it with your right hand here first. Go back, very little wrist set with your wrist, very little bend with your right arm, and then let that tuck as you shift to the left, and then swing on through. So I'm having a little bit of a momentum shift to the right and to the left in the golf swing. I go back. As I shift to the left, then it starts to lag and comes on through. So let me just do a few swings like that. And you can see how this isn't complicated at all. It's just getting down the timing of having that lag and having that club just whip through contact. You see, when I do it the other way and I pick the club up right away and then I want to throw it, that's the exact opposite. During my weight shift, the club is doing this when it should be doing that. So that can really make all the difference in the world to being able to hit those smooth shots. Let me go ahead and hit another one, and notice how in my transition, I'm going to exaggerate like crazy here. It's going to look like I'm playing this in slow motion. I'm not. I'm just swinging this smoothly. And I'll still get some decent distance out of this, even swinging that slow. So let me go crazy slow on this one. Right, so the backswing was very smooth. It's that transition that really slows it down. And on that one, 170 yards with a 7-iron, and you can see it looked like I was barely swinging at all. And that's all that lagging and then whipping it through contact, which is going to allow you to be efficient with it and get that club to kind of take off through contact. So you're going to do a few of those, and then I want you to go ahead and add in the last piece, which is getting long through contact. So I'm here, very little wrist set. I shift left as my wrist and my elbow bend. And then through contact, I'm very long here again. So it's almost like I'm letting the club lag, and then I'm just letting it fly out to the target. Almost no effort at all. And again, very smooth, easy swing, almost like a little half swing here. And I'm still getting it, that was 150 yards. I can get it very long even without trying at all. And if I want to crank it up, now that once I get that moved down, I keep that same pattern, but I just go ahead and add a little bit of force to it, and that's when you can get the really crazy numbers with your 7-iron or any of your clubs. And this works with every club, from pitching wedge all the way up to the driver. So let's go ahead and try that out. There you go. Nice little draw, trying to come back 195 with a 7-iron. So it's that transition move. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to add to this. It's a video that I call Knuckle Dragger. And one of the problems that I find is people's positions, their body positions, the positions of their hands in their downswing are in an orientation where you can't even do this. So if you were to do exactly what I talked about there, getting that little lag and that shift together, you may say, Clay, I'm trying to do that, but I can't even hit the ball when I'm doing it. It's something as simple as your hand position that can tie that together for you. And that's exactly what I go over, the feeling that you need to have to be able to get all that lag, to get that really late snap of speed through contact, in a video I'm going to play here in a second called Knuckle Dragger. So if you want to see that full video, all you need to do is click one of the cards that pop up on the screen. If you don't see one of those cards, make sure that you go down to the link below in the description and click there. Either one of those will get you instant access to this video. It's like a light bulb goes off. Once you do that, it's easy to get lag, it's easy to get shaft lean, it's easy to clear the hips and do all these things that you want to do. Your hands just were in the wrong position. So I'm going to show that to you now. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll play a preview. Just click the card or the link down below. I got an awesome video for you. This one is what I call Knuckle Dragger. And this is one of the best ones, one of the big missing pieces to players that are struggling to get more lag. Now, let's talk about when you lose lag, what's happening. A lot of times what's happening is as you make your downswing, if we're looking from this down the line view, what happens is my hips go toward the golf ball. They start to slide forward. My chest moves back away from this golf ball, so I'm getting farther away from the golf ball. And then all of a sudden, I cast, I flip, and I don't have a lot of lag there. Well, look how far my hands are away from the ground. Also notice when I get my hands closer to the ground, so as my hands get lower, then what happens is they also go forward more. So as I want to have more lag, when you feel like your knuckles are dragging the ground, then that club is naturally going to lag back behind, and then you're going to release that out in front. When your hands are far away from the ground, well, if I had all that lag, where would I be swinging? I'd be swinging a foot over top of the golf ball. So you have to kind of flip, release that lag early to just make contact with the golf ball at all. So having those knuckles feeling like they're scraping the ground is really going to be a big key. Now, another piece to this, again, when I talked about losing that posture, your hips go forward. You're going to want to feel like, as those hands scrape the ground, your knuckles drag the ground.